Mr. Alawusa, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, sir.
So good to finally have you.
Thank you, sir.
We've been speaking on the phone, discussing, and here we are together. I love your story of transformation.
Oh, wow.
And let's go back to the beginning. You tell us your background. You grew up in a home where you had a bad example. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so thank you for having me again. I grew up in what you call a middle-class Nigerian family. My dad, late now, was a lawyer, and then my mom a teacher. I have 4 other siblings, and then it was a close-knit family. However, my dad is a prince, so that makes me a prince of Ife, and that came with its own peculiarities. Just enjoyment of life, lack of accountability, Lord and Master of the home, and all that, and especially a lot of philandering. And that's what we saw when we were growing up. Interestingly, my father would take us to church, put us in Sunday school, go and pay his tithes, and then go back into his car and drive off. And then when church ends, he will come back to pick us. So he gave us some semblance of worship and fellowship, but we never saw him do it. All we saw was, it was just this free spirit, always enjoying life. In fact, my mom told me that he announced my birth at an Ebenezer Obey party. So rather than be with my mom in the hospital, it was at the party, and that's where I announced his friend that I have a baby boy. And that's where everybody, if you listen to Ebenezer Obey, you probably hear Ebenezer Obey hailing him along the line. So that's how I grew up. So in growing up, the examples we saw, I and my brother, were just, it's nice to be a free spirit. You are a prince. There's no accountability. You can do and undo. The world is at your feet. Just go out and enjoy yourself. So that's all I knew from primary to secondary school and then university. Along the line, because of the nature and carefree nature of life that we were used to, I wrote JAMB 4 times. So by the time I got to university, my mates were already in part 4. That's when I got into part 1. And it was interesting because all through those 4 years, despite the fact that life was going, it didn't really matter because I was just enjoying myself. I didn't know better, you know. So I was still supported by my father anyway. So I had a car from Form 3. And so life was good. Even my friends that were at university, they still came home to pick me to parties and all that because I had the kind of resources they would need to shine at that party. So that was how life was growing up until eventually I got to university. And then in university too, my unserious nature continued. I entered with political science, not law. I was supposed to change to law in part 2, but of course I failed one course. It was normal anyway, so I couldn't change. So in my part 3 in political science, I changed to part 2 law. Then I repeated part 2 law again. That made it my 5th year in university. So imagine... And
you were only still in part 3.
I was now in part 2 because I repeated part 2 law.
Oh, sorry, you were 5 years
I was in part 3.
In part 2.
Yes, I was 5 years in university.
It took you 5 years to get to the second year.
To get to the second year in part 2. So all my friends had gone, but I was still there. And I didn't know any better. Life was still good. I'm alive anyway.
And you can party on.
Of course, I can party on. My friends still came looking for me, and life was good. Life was passing, but I didn't know that life was passing. So I repeated part 2 law, and then I understood that if I'm not careful, this could be the end.
They will send you
And
out.
so, yes, I had to make some effort to at least cross from part 2
to go to part
3 law.
Please like this video and leave a comment below. Let's know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button and share this video with somebody.